A quick preamble before I get into this. This will likely be the last video in this format for the foreseeable future. I've come up with something that's taking a bit to get together, just letting you know. Hey guys, Groudon here. It's been, around 10 months since Scarlet and Violet came out. And the DLC comes out today? Wow, could not have timed this worse. Anyway, now that it's been a while, I think I'm finally prepared to share my opinion of the latest Pokemon games. And I know how much you all value my opinion. Why wouldn't people respect what the great deity of the lithospheres thinks? Other than that too. And alright, I get it! So I'm gonna do this in segments: story, gyms, and gameplay. And after that, give my final thoughts. This isn't going to be a thorough review, it's just a few quick thoughts about the game. We cool? Cool. As to not waste your, or my, time, let's get started.
I'm gonna do a book! Oh.
I was intrigued by Groudon when it first showed up, but about the time I got to the academy, I kind of forgot there was a plot around him. I started to look at him less as a character and more as a means to an end. I know that's mean to say, but I legitimately forgot he was a character. Arven's story didn't grab me at first. What I mean is, when I did get around to the Titan Pokemons in the area, I was burned out because I had just finished scouring the area for new pokes for the decks. It was around, I think, the 5th or 4th one when I finally started paying more attention to his story. My boss diff standing up was finally what made me do so. I know this because I said, am I supposed to care about this? I guess I have no heart. This is getting too long. Next! Nemona's story had a bad start for me. At this point, I was so tired of Pokemon doing friendly rivals in these games. And so, for most of her story, I ignored the nuances that she had. Looking back, she reminds me of May from the GBA Pokemon games. She was friendly, but kinda stuck up because of her reputation. Nemona was just obsessive-compulsive instead of being a brat. So I did like Nemona's story. I didn't care about Penny. Now, the climactic part of the story definitely did hold my interest because of all the cool stuff happening, but after sitting on it a while, it was quite a lot that came out of nowhere. I really do like it, it was just both sudden and was over a little too quickly. Overall, the story's way better than Sword and Shields. I can give you one reason why Sword and Shields isn't as good. Now, why am I putting everything that happens in the main game that isn't plot story related as gyms? Well, let's see. You get gym badges. Even though there are 3 different types of challenge, I looked at them more as gyms than what the other 2 things were supposed to be. But first, let's address something that everyone and their grandma has complained about. I legit thought there was going to be level scaling in this when I first played it. Remember the movie Pokemon Origins? Let me play a clip for you.
Have you got any badges?
Badges? No, I don't have any.
I see. Well then, I'll battle you with these 2 Pokemon.
With 2?
Well, I know we all shared the same reason for thinking that this would be the case. I went on the right side of the map and I went sequentially through the challenges. They stayed around my highest leveled Pokemon and I was enjoying the challenge. But after finishing Atticus and going to the left side, well, if you know, you know. This is not at all how I would make it on Genis. Now onto the challenges themselves. We basically have totem Pokemon without the trial, L button pressing simulator, and gyms. The gym challenges were okay overall, but none truly stood out for me. If I had to pick a favorite, I'd go with the Ghost Gym, but not because of the wrapping. All in all, probably the least interesting gym quest in the series. Some of them had nothing to do with the type it was supposed to represent. What does an auction house have to do with water? The leader's a chef. So? Berg from Black and White was an artist, yet he incorporated the bug type into his gym by having honey walls and a beehive look to it, as well as the spider nest look in the sequel. Whatever. At least VTubers enjoyed the electric gym. Oh, you want my opinion on the music? Yeah, it's pretty good. For gameplay, there's a few aspects I gotta go over. Terra, Pokemon, and the game. Terra's an interesting mechanic. It's like if every Pokemon had Kecleon's ability, but can only use said ability once. However, it reminds me more of Z moves than anything, almost like Dynamax before. Even if it does change your type, it's still only a super powerful move. At least you can use it more than once or 3 times, like Z moves and Dynamax respectively. Pokemon catching's definitely improved since Sword and Shield. It's exclusively overworld Pokemon. It also has more Pokemon in the overworld thanks to the grouping mechanic, although it shares Sword and Shield's problem of drawing distance. Funny thing though, around the time I was finishing up the Pokedex, the only way for me to catch any Pokemon at all became crit catches. Is there a way to fix that? Because I sure haven't found a way to undo that. The game itself feels like one of the old LEGO games, except its problems are a little more out in the open. Sure, the LEGO games had glitches aplenty, but I don't recall them doing the graphical glitches that Scarlet and Violet did a lot of the time. Also, every time I went into the desert, the game crashed. I think I did a community post about it. There is an element of exploration, and for an overworld that's completely unique, it's not that bad. The rewards for finding things is okay, I suppose, if you consider 4 Pokemon, 3 of which are trash in battle, a worthy reward for exploration. And raid dens are kinda boring. It's just the Dynamax raid dens from Sword and Shield just with a few extra steps. That's about it for exploration. Other than that, the world feels kinda empty after you finish completing the dex and the story. Other than shiny hunting, there's really not much else to do. Certain individuals that say, "You don't like these new Pokemon games because you're blinded by nostalgia. They were always buggy messes." Now, there might be a modicum of truth to that statement. However, I don't have nostalgia for Pokemon games pre-ORAS, so I'm not blinded by nostalgia. If you haven't watched my Pokemon marathon, you'd see I never did once encounter any glitches that weren't self-imposed. In my experience with said games, I never got stuck in a wall, seen textures bug out, or have the game crash unless it was my doing or fault. Let me example 2 related glitches with Scarlet and Violet versus Diamond and Pearl. So here I am running around when, oops, I get stuck out of bounds with no way out. Well, that was short. Now let's look at the Void glitch in Generation 4. If you don't understand how it works, let me quickly run it down for you. In short, you have to force the game to get confused. Who's going to know exactly which 4 floor tiles are going to cause the game to crash? What are the odds that that would happen naturally? Slim to none. Glitches aside, Scarlet and Violet are good games disguised as bad games. If they had an extra year of development, they could have been way better. We can only hope the Pokemon Company will hold off on annual releases. But that's unlikely. Anyway, that's my review. Do you agree with me? If you don't, there's the door. Anyway, that's it for now. This is Groudon, signing out.